Hello everybody, welcome back to our lesson series on Byzantine chant. My name is Chris Kouloukis. I'm the protopsaltis at the Greek Orthodox Church of St. Demetrius in Seattle, Washington, and I'm excited to be teaching you a bit today. Now just remember, if you have any questions or if you'd like to reach out for private lessons, you can do so at the email that I am going to put down in the video description. Now without further ado, let's get it going. So today we're going to learn about the Kentimata. So this is another character of quantity. And what it means is you're going to move up one step from the previous pitch. So if we're starting here on this ison, on a ni, like we learned in our last lesson with the martirias, ni, then we move up one with the Kentimata. Ni pa pa vu vu ga ga di. Now, one thing to note about the Kentimata is that they are always on an unstressed beat. So they're never going to take any new words or syllables. And remember, last time we learned about the rhythms, 1, 2, 1, 2, for this, visimos. So if you're here, you would be doing a down on the ison and an up on the Kentimata. Ni pa pa vu. And since the down is always accented, we don't have any Kentimata there, but they're always on the up, on the unaccented beat. So that's the Kentimata that we have there. Let's look at the Petasti. So the Petasti is interesting because it is both a character of quantity and a character of quality, which means that it both tells us how we move in the melody, but it also tells us how we are going to execute the note that we are singing on the Petasti. And what it means is we are going to move one up from the previous pitch, just like in the Kentimata, but we're adding a little ornamental flutter here. So it's almost like a tiny little flip with your voice, right? So it'll sound kind of like this. We got our 2 here again, visimos, 1, 2, 1, 2. So we got ni pa vu pa. Now you'll hear on the Petasti, I'm doing a little vu a little flip with my voice. So that's something that you can practice on your own, just kind of by going ni, ni. And then you can incorporate it here into an exercise. So I'll show you this one from the beginning. Ni, ni pa pa vu pa. Vu vu ga ga di ga ga vu vu pa ni zo ke zo ni. All right, so that's the Petasti for you. One note up from the previous pitch with a little flutter. So now we're going to get into the rhythmic symbols. So we're going to start with the Klasma. Now the Klasma is a character that is put usually on top of a character of quantity. Sometimes it's underneath depending on the character, but most of the time you'll see it on top. And what it means is you're going to hold that character for 2 full beats. So here you see an example. We have a ni on our ison. Ni, ni. So that's down, up, ni, ni. And then with this ison with the Klasma on top, we're going to hold it for both the down and the up of the meter. So we're going ni, ni, ni. Okay? So let's start from the top here. And let's hear what an exercise with some Klasma would sound like. So ni, 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 pa, 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 vu, 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 ga, 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 vu, 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 pa, 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 ni, ni, zo, ni. So you'll see that I'm holding each character that has a klasma on top. I'm holding for one extra beat. And you can see also that I'm doing that with my hands, right? So I'm following the beats that I'm doing in the meters that we talked about in our last lesson. I'm keeping the beats that way so that I know when I've gone through the 2 beats. Ni, tu, ni, ni, pa, tu, pa, pa, down, up, down, up. That will help you keep track of the beats that you need to be counting when you're doing these new rhythmic symbols. Now we have another rhythmic character here called the Apli. Now the Apli is similar to the Klasma in that it adds a beat to a character. But the difference is that there can actually be multiple Apli on one beat. So it's not always just going to be 2 beats on whatever character it's on. But we'll get to multiple Apli in 1 second. For now, let's just think about one. So an Apli adds 1 beat to the character on which it resides. So we have ni, ni, zo, ni. So you'll see here, we have an apostrophos with an Apli underneath. And once again, you hold it for 1 beat, the down, and for another beat, the up of the meter. And then it's the same thing here with the Klasma, down and up. So once again, this example sounds like this. Ni, ni, zo, ni. And that's it. So let's see what an example, a little bit of a longer example would look like here with some Apli. So we have the martiria of ni and an ison, so we know that our first song pitch is ni, and let's try it out. Ni, ni, zo, ni, pa, ni, pa, vu, pa, vu, pa, vu, ga, vu, pa, vu, pa, ni, pa, ni, zo, ni, zo, ni. So you'll see that with every Apli, we are just holding for 1 extra beat there. Now, here's where multiple Apli comes in. So we have the Vipli, which means we have 2 Apli. And when we have a Vipli under a character, instead of just adding 1 beat to that character, we are adding 2 beats to that character. So total, it would be 3 beats long. So if I had this character, ni, pa, vu, ga, di, it's a di, which I know from this martiria here. I know this is a di. I would hold it for 3 beats. I would go di, 2, 3, off. So 3 beats here. So now you'll see that in each measure, we have 3 beats, 2 for the Klasma, and then 1 more for whatever character comes after. So when we're beating here, remember we're going to be beating the tripli, which is down, left, up, down, left, up. Okay? So here's what this one would sound like with the vipli. Ni, ni, pa, vu, ga, di, ke, di, ga, vu, pa, ni, pa, pa, vu, ga, di, ke, zo, ke, So you'll hear, as I just did, that each vpli adds 2 beats to the character, which makes a total of 3 beats. Now let's look at the tripli. So the tripli, as you might have guessed, it's 3 Apli, and it adds 3 beats to the character that it resides on. So that makes a total of 4 beats for whatever character we have a tripli on. So if we're reading this, we're in tetrasimos here, 4, down, right, left, up. So, sounds like this. Ni, po, vu, po, ni, zo, ni. And that's it. Now, let's look at one more character of rhythm here before we finish up. So we have something called a pavsi. Now a pavsi is kind of a mix of an apli with another character of quality that we have called a varia, which is this little swoosh line that comes down and curves around at the bottom there. So when we have a combination of the two of these things, the apli with the varia, it means that we are going to have a 1 beat of rest. And then of course if we have the vipli, 2 apli, vipli, then we have 2 beats of rest. And if we have a tripli, that means we have 3 beats of rest. So let's see what this would look like in some exercises. So let's start with this one, number 33. Starting on ni, with the martiria of ni here in the yison, in 2 decimos meter. And we have all of these pavsis scattered throughout. And with each of them, we're going to take 1 beat of rest because we only have 1 apli here. So, ni, let's see what it sounds like. 2, ready, and ni, po, vu, po, ni, zo, ni. And then for number 34, we have a very similar thing, but we have a pavsi with a vipli, so 2 beats of rest. And we are in trisimos meter, so 3. So here's what this would sound like. 1, ready, and ni, po, vu, po, ni, zo, ni. And then, of course, with the tripli on the pavsi, so 3 beats of rest. We're into trasimos meter here, so beating 4. Let's hear what this one sounds like. 1, 2, 3. Ni, pot, vu, pot, ni, zot, ni. And that's it. So we have one more little character that we're going to learn before we finish up, which is called the ifen. So for those of you that know Western music, this is the same thing as a tie. It ties 2 characters together and holds them out. So here, since we have the ifen here, instead of saying ni, 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 I would hold these 2 together. I would count them together. So they would sound kind of like if it was just one ison that had a klasma on it, just like this. So it would sound like this. Ni, ni, ni. And let's look at this in an example. Starting here, we have ni, po, vu, ga, di, ga, vu, po, ni. So, once again, It just connects two characters together. So even though we have two different characters here, we are not saying ni, ni. We are holding it out because of the ifen here. And that's going to be the last rhythmic character for today. So thank you all very much for tuning in. Make sure that if you are enjoying this series, subscribe to the channel. And once again, contact me with any questions. If you have any questions or with any, if you would like to take lessons, go ahead and contact me at my email down in the description. And I look forward to seeing you in our next lesson together.